While excessive specialization and technological development do obviously lead to the larger good of humanity in many ways, a doubt creeps into my mind whether they are not undermining humanity at the same time by lowering the quality of the mind and the spirit and by engendering tendencies of self destruction. This is rather a distant consideration that I wish to place before you because it leads us to think that in the world today there is a complete lack of balance. Certainly, India is not much balanced. The fault may lie with the government or with somebody else. For the moment, let us forget whose fault it is. It may be the fault of all of us, but the fact is that there is lack of balance. Our finance minister may seek some financial balancing about imports and exports and about the sterling balances. That is all right. That has to be done and is wisely done. But the real lack of balance is more basic and it is affecting not only our economic life but also our political and international life. How are we to find balance in the world and particularly in India? The equilibrium we need is not purely a question of accountancy but something deeper. We tend to think of these things from an accountant's point of view because the accountant's point of view cannot be utterly ignored, whether in business or in other undertakings. But the accountant's point of view is a narrow point of view. As far as human life is concerned, it is obvious that we cannot control the whole world. It is too big a job for us. India provides a big enough task. What can we do about it in India? I am not competent to give an answer, but one thing is dear to me, namely that whatever the answer may be, it cannot be given effect to by a governmental decree. It is too big a problem. It is too big a job for the government, even though the latter consists of the wisest men. Obviously, the government must give the lead in such a matter, but in order to be effective, it must have, as you yourself said, sir, public cooperation in a very large degree. Then I come up against another difficulty. What is the public? What are the people? You said people repeatedly. Who are the people? Are the eminent men and women who are sitting here representatives of the important elements in our national life? Are they the people you and I are thinking of? I have no doubt that there are other people equally eminent in other walks of life who have different viewpoints. Then, who are the people? How are we to bring together their various viewpoints and different approaches to our problems? Well, I suppose it is not possible to get everyone to agree. Ultimately, what will happen in this country is that there will be certain cleavages of opinion representing different economic approaches. They need not necessarily come into conflict with one another all the time. People have the right to have their own approaches, but I am sure a solution can be hammered out of all these if people so desire. They can cooperate to a large extent, even though they differ. We seek public cooperation or the people's cooperation. But what is our purpose? When we lay down the purpose, each group has different views about the purpose too. You may, of course, say in normal times that it does not matter very much if minor mistakes are made. But what one does is important in times of crisis or emergency.